First, there was darkness. Then came the strangers.
Well, maybe we're in a simulation right now.
Yeah.
Releasing to core space.
It's a new morning in America. Fresh. Vital. The old cynicism is gone.
I hope that every American, regardless of where he lives, will stop
Maybe it happened.
and examine his conscience about this and other related incidents.
What color are your eyes? Anthropologists use an official scale to...
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal.
classify people's eye colors from around the world. Add yourself.
Yes. Very good question. In fact, that is key question.
They were a race as old as time itself. They had mastered the ultimate technology, the ability to alter physical reality by will alone.
What we have yet to understand, that there has been a gross violation.
Yeah.
If you give the truth away, maybe we'll turn out to be alive.
And that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened. Today we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free.
All of you should stop identifying professional advice. Too many of us refuse to face reality.
Elon Musk says that we're living in a simulation. He's not the only person that theorizes this. Basically, we're in a video game being controlled by higher beings.
They call this ability tuning.
But all these things remain. All the realities remain.
But they were dying. Their civilization was in decline.
And when Americans are sent to Vietnam or West Berlin, we do not ask for whites only. It ought to be possible, therefore, for American students of any color to attend any public institution they select without having to be backed up by troops.
I'm a 10. I always wanted to say that. Well, that little colored bit on the front is called the iris. It's named for the Greek goddess of the rainbow. But this entire color...
Never leave our dreams and return to the real world.
The kaleidoscope of colors is actually made from just one color. The blues, the greens, the browns, they're all a trick of physics.
How things originally were put together by light itself, we call that nature. In
But I thought I would take this moment to say congratulations.
nature, you did not find Arabs in Alaska, nor Africans in Europe.
It ought to be possible for American consumers of any color to receive equal service in places of public accommodation, such as hotels and restaurants, and theaters and retail stores. Without being forced to resort to demonstrations in the street.
And so they abandoned their world, seeking a cure for their own mortality. Their endless journey brought them to a small blue world in the farthest corner of the galaxy. Our world.
Right now, the rainforest is being consumed by fire. In fact, there's 80% increase in fires just over the last year alone, and this is the course of hottest July our planet has ever seen. What do you pay attention showing smoke from space being emitted from a high above covering huge parts of South America? Now, this is an act of the farmers and ranchers intentionally destroying their land for more.
And it ought to be possible for American citizens of any color to register and to vote in a free election without interference or fear of reprisal. It ought to be possible, in short, for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or his color.
You smell Bernstein bears. What color is C-3PO's right shin? What does he fruit of the loom look?
It really boils down to
Is it a multitude of fruit pouring out of a cornucopia, or is it just a pile of fruit?
our ability to accept.
Here they thought they had finally found what they had been searching for.
Your kids probably have one of these.
Because my friend did not actually see video of it to that police officer
Right? Not quite.
The line of demarcation was clearly drawn, meaning that each cell.
We are covering a climate in crisis on the heels of a new major United Nations report that is dire warnings about the impact of climate change on the world's future, but also provides potential solutions. Now, it says the preservation of and restoration of forests could reverse the buildup of CO2 in the atmosphere. The reason, trees.
Each cell that represents human beings on this planet, we represent a cell as African people.
Draw down atmospheric carbon and store it in the soil. Protections have to be put in place for those vital forests, and sometimes it takes a David versus Goliath style fight, and that is just what happened when one Amazonian tribe in Ecuador battled the government to protect the rainforest and their home.
Ensure every American ought to have the right to be treated as he would wish to be treated, as one would wish his children to be treated.
Like this rift and some of the other immersive technologies, that it's quite transformative. You really feel like you're there.
But this is not the case. The Negro baby born in America today, regardless of the section of the...
And his name is for the supposed mass misremembering of when Nelson Mandela died. Many remember Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, when in reality he died in his home in 2015.
Don't need pessimism.
The state in which he is born has about 1/2 as much chance of completing a high school as a white baby.
There are no limits.
I am just a man. I help the strangers conduct their experiments.
Born in the same place, on the same day. 1/3 as much chance of completing college. 1/3 as much chance of becoming a professional man. Twice as much chance of becoming unemployed.
We're all just like in Super Mario Brothers.
Yes, I wish I had.
I
had a good argument against that hypothesis, and I do not.
About 1/7 as much chance of earning $10,000 a year. A life expectancy, which is 7 years shorter, and the prospects of earning only half as much.
I have betrayed my own kind.
This belief seems to stem from people misremembering the health troubles that Mandela faced while in prison, and then from burying their heads in the sand for the next 30 years.
I am not an Eskimo. I am not an Arab. Neither am I a Chinese. Understand it?
Hold out your irises and try to look at the pigment molecules inside, but you couldn't because you'd be blind. But they would all be brown. The iris contains cells that contain a pigment.
That there comes a food with the gene structure of the individual.
It's called melanin, and there's no blue melanin, only earthy tones. In every color of eye, the back most inside layer of the iris is densely packed with dark melanin. That's so.
This is not a sectional issue. Difficulties over segregation and discrimination exist in every city, in every state of the union.
You'd think that with the beautiful photographs that we have of our round blue planet, it would...
After having heard about the effect...
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Producing, in many cities, a rising tide of discontent that threatens the public safety. Nor is this a partisan issue. In a time of domestic crisis, men of goodwill and generosity should be able to unite regardless of party or politics.
So you think it's very, you think it's probable?
If you're playing Mario, Super Mario, and there he is jumping.
Well, right now it's Fortnite, honey.
Oh, Fortnite, okay. If whatever is your game, if you were in there and you were a scientist, you would be exploring the rules that apply to that game, right?
Called the lungs of the Earth, the Amazon is the world's largest rainforest and one of the most biologically diverse places on the planet. It's 6 million square kilometers of forest. Are a key buffer against increasing levels of carbon in our atmosphere. But this precious natural resource has long been under threat. Now one tribe is fighting back.
This is not even a legal or legislative issue alone. It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level.
First
time in 5 years, Chicago police officers charged with first degree murder.
Law alone cannot make men see right. We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the scriptures and as clear as the American Constitution.
All right, this war for long-term damage. That will make the kind of price even worse. So, just mind you, not from that high results. Just nice to see you. Really good to have you from Brazil. It's not really feeling effects.
I am your father.
Part of the question is whether all of
Hell of a pilot?
Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunity.
Totally covered by a meshy front layer, and that's where things vary from person to person. If you have brown eyes, the cells in the meshy front layer of your iris are...
I know this occurs in the human body. The human body could easily
full of pigment. If you have blue or blue-gray, there's not much pigment in that meshy layer at all. The other eye colors fall somewhere in the middle. So
it be considered a prototype of this whole arrangement.
Whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to treat them. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if in short he cannot enjoy the full and free life that all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place?
Like, can you jump? How fast do bullets fly? You make a canon of laws of physics. That would be your world. And then you wonder, am I real or am I not?
Officer shot and killed 12-year-old Hamir Rice on Sunday.
Officers arrived, but it opened fire from 2 seconds.
Andrade decided not to unite. The officers decided to kill Monroe's Mirai.
Would convince any doubters. But there are still some who insist that the world is flat.
Now watch, someone programs a universe, and in there they gain maturity and technology, and then they program a universe.
And then when you come out of it, it feels like reality isn't real. So I think we'll see probably less physical movement in the future as a result of the virtual reality stuff.
Then
they program a universe. So you can have nested, simulated universes all the way down, but there's only one real universe. Now throw a dart at all those universes.
Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves. Yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression.
There's a rise in Amazon and it affects to very far from home. Brazil's largest sea plunged into darkness, black cloud filling the sky.
Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments in it. American leaders of our shares could, with time, and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer esteem the imposition of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent arms industry of vast proportions. And to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in defense assets. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations.
Doesn't even want to try. That, in my mind, is unacceptable.
Which one are you most likely to hit? A simulated universe.
So can we simulate?
I wish I had a good argument against that, and I do not.
So why?
How can you have blue eyes when there's nothing blue inside of them? Let me show you this quick experiment. If I shine a light through plain water, the beam is almost invisible. But when we
this human body. In the human body, you have iron cells, you have calcium cells, you have cells that are made up of phosphorus and zinc, cells that are made up of carbon and copper. So
add some milk, the beam becomes visible, and it has a bluish tint. It's called the Tyndall effect. There's tiny particles of milk suspended in the water, the same way there's tiny packets of...
As we look at this difference in genetical predispositions, we find that there's a food that is also associated with that cell.
And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free. We preach freedom around the world, and we mean it. And we cherish our freedom here at home.
Yes.
But are we to say to the world, and much more importantly, to each other, that this is a land of the free?
One picks up Hollow Monday afternoon, sees smoke blowing from 2,700 kilometers away, where fires are consuming the world's largest rainforest. The Amazon being burned at a record rate, according to the Research Center. More than 80,000 fires have scorched the country this year, an over 80% increase over the same period of 2018. Flames destroying 1/2 of the rainforest every minute of every day. Smoke spraying across nearly half of Brazil. We came here
for our right to live. We haven't come here to negotiate with the government.
Visible from space, no room to go. Even spilling in the neighboring Peru, Bolivia, and Paraguay. Now the haze stretches across South America, spreading along the east Atlantic coast. The fires have come here in Brazil's dry season. One side to say this is
We came here to get the government to respect our jungle, our land. It's our home.
benefit from the norm. Instead, environmentalists trying to land raise at unprecedented levels. A new government encourages inserted development on the region. Brazil's right-wing president had brushed off environmental concerns as he vows to openly enforce citizens' interests.
Except for the Negroes, we have no second-class citizens, except Negroes. We have no class or caste system, no ghetto, no master race, except with respect to Negroes. Now the time has come for this nation to fulfill its promise. The events in Birmingham and elsewhere have so increased the cries for equality that no city or state or legislative body can prudently choose to ignore them.
All right, suppose we settle down.
People being very unjustly and not being held accountable, Kane leave.
Fires of frustration and discord are burning in every city, north and south, where legal remedies are not at hand. Regret and sorrow in the street, in demonstrations, parades, protests, with create tension, threaten violence, and threaten lives.
No. That skill is all AI. It has cameras and sensors.
We face, therefore, a moral crisis in the country and people. It cannot be met by repressive police action. It cannot be left to increase demonstrations in the streets. It cannot be quieted by token moves or talk. It is a time to act in the Congress, in your state, and local legislative body, and above all, in all of our daily lives.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing here on the virtual reality front. I mean, just on the whole notion of simulation, which is that if you travel into the future and say, well, how good, let's say, will video games be in?
All the elements made were there.
Not only is your man going to work behind you. Not face charges saying they did not make any laws, and they shot five weapons, never back bar. Yes, and
I believe it, I'm very excited about it.
It is not enough to pin the blame on others, to say this is the problem of one section of the country or another, or to pour the facts that we face. Great change is at hand, and our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all.
You do not feed the cells of the blood calcium, you feed it iron. So when you feed black people, you have to understand his gene. What is it that is found or was found in his environment originally?
Sound like stuff in science fiction, right? Sound completely unbelievable. How could our military possibly be using this in future warfare? Guess what? We just had a recent breakthrough. More great test results that are making lasers a reality.
Pigment spread out inside blue hives. Even though those particles aren't blue, they're scattering shorter blue wavelengths of light away, while redder wavelengths pass through. It's also why smoke looks blue and why the sky is blue. Though, in the case of
That's far enough. Where'd you get those glasses?
Truth. Those who do nothing are inviting shame as well as violence.
So, I'll bet.
Those who act boldly are recognizing right as well as reality. Next week, I shall ask the Congress of the United States to act. Make a commitment that is not fully made in this century to the proposition that race has no place in American life or law. The federal judiciary has upheld that proposition in a series of forthright cases. The executive branch has adopted that proposition in the conduct of its affairs, including the employment of federal personnel, the use of federal facilities, the sale of federally financed housing. But there are other necessary measures which only the Congress can provide, and they must be provided at this session.
Nice. Take your tail to bed.
So it's called Athena. Lockheed Martin makes it, and they've been doing a lot of pioneering in this laser field. Now, what's really exciting about it is it's so hard to harness that much power and make it compact enough that it's actually going to make practical sense downrange. And they've proven that they can do that. Recently, they tested it against 5 moving drones, so realistic drones that they might go up against with enemy forces might send against us, for example, or terrorists might send against us. And it successfully shot down all 5 of the drones.
The old code of equity law, under which we live, commands for every wrong a remedy. But in too many communities, in too many parts of the country, wrongs are inflicted on Negro citizens, and there are no remedies at law.
For the first time, we are seeing the moments leading up to the arrest of George Floyd. Newly released videos from the body cameras worn by 2 former Minneapolis officers are shedding new light into the death that set off protests around the world. Marcus Moore has the latest, and we do warn you, the new images are disturbing.
Does Baltimore feel like he can pay this for the next few years? What will cost? And really, this is not environmental.
Tonight, a judge ordering that release of 2 body camera videos from George Floyd's arrest and death.
This is huge news because it means that in a realistic, practical setting, it's looking very promising. So it could be ready to field quite soon. So when you see the movies, and you look at comic books or television shows, when you see the laser weapons,
just seconds after approaching the vehicle, rookie officer Thomas Lane pulled his gun and pointed at a noticeably startled and scared Floyd.
They tend to be a color, right? Red or green or something like that. Real lasers, one of the key advantages that they provide is that they are invisible. You actually can't see them. You just see this damage suddenly starting to blow something up.
Unless the Congress acts, their only remedy is free. I'm therefore asking the Congress to enact legislation giving all Americans the right to be served in facilities which are open to the public. Hotel.
The Congress section is now to be on to 15 cents a foot. Where's any side?
Restaurants, theaters, retail stores, and similar establishments. This seems to me to be an elementary right. Its denial is an arbitrary indignity that no American in 1963 should have to endure.
Seriously, it doesn't take environmental concerns seriously. There's money over, and the Brazil's part of the goes to a trade block just on trade deal with the European Union, which is not concerned.
You did not find rice and beans and chicken and hogs and pigs. So,
but many do. I recently met with scores of business leaders, urging them to take voluntary action to end this discrimination. And I've been encouraged by their response. And in the last 2 weeks, over 75 cities have seen progress made in desegregating these kinds of facilities. But many are unwilling to act alone. And for this reason, nationwide legislation is needed.
Understanding that these things didn't exist on the continent, I decided to look into the organic world.
We take a look now at the Athena did to a truck. So we're looking at a truck engine, and the Athena within seconds was able to beam right in there, keep the whole thing up, and burn through the engine of this vehicle.
Don't shoot me, please, man. I'm not gonna shoot you. Step on this way. Please don't shoot me, man.
Actually having put more pressure on Bolsonaro to have some more environmental policies than any environmentalists. And give you an idea, the city different leaders saying that the cloud deal that's should be signed up. Economies on Germany and Norway pulling $70 million out of Brazil's Amazon.
Imagine if you were in that vehicle, all of a sudden this hole would start appearing in your engine and the whole thing would just disappear. That's what these lasers do. Now there's some other key advantages. That we should mention. Let me give you 3 of them. 1, unlimited ammo. As long as you have power, you have an unlimited magazine. Downrange, of course, having unlimited ammo can be a huge advantage. The bizarre incident reaches the belief that Skylar speaking also videos in power. It's a shutdown, even from massive storm, coupled with wide winds and heavy fall. Resist.
If we are to move this problem from the streets to the court. I'm also asking Congress to authorize the federal government
Look at the rise in the middle of the Mojave Desert. There's actually over 70,000.
to participate more fully in lawsuits designed to end segregation in public education.
7 years, the size of the garage door, whole years tax. How are you?
Take brand new safer engine. But for Earth, be a husband, is the battery and current in solid pulse capacitor, she 9 feet below cerebral process. Zombie body image is and here is rock. It's like a top side. Just walking on it. We're seeing rock. Then somehow left factor. It's never third channel. Never in tester. It happened. It must be a unique switch to for me. It's one time problem.
Second, silence. Don't give the enemy any advance warning that it's coming. And the third one I wanted to touch on is that it travels at the speed of light. So not only are we delivering seafood brain, chicken prawn, and starfish, that's in the sweet, and magic opus, falling to the side of the boat. Chinese local administration confirmed they have number of sea creatures longer than powerful, decisive effects, lethality. We're also doing it so rapidly they don't know what hit them. So
We have succeeded in persuading many districts to desegregate voluntarily. Dozens have admitted Negroes without violence.
And your city, the kind of policy through this, and get away.
Today, a Negro is attending a state-supported institution in every one of our 50 states. The pace is very slow.
You got him. Think you saw shaving this morning?
You look as shitty to us as we do to you.
Impossible.
It would be easier if we don't have to splatter your brains.
Body camera shows Officer Alexander Kane explaining they were called to the Minneapolis convenience store over allegations Floyd used a fake $20 bill.
Smoking here, and that's just what seems time of year. It is the driest part of the year for them. When they have a emergency, mostly start arguing just connectly from start in this time of year. And fires will live first ring, they start on the fire season itself. When the fire season first. So this project will fuel 140,000 power minimum, so effectively 1 year back to power California.
Tom Gill is the CEO of NRG, company behind this $2.2 billion solar project. It's never fire because the heat freezes up to 900 degrees. He's starting to feathers a bird flying through, often causing them to crack.
We circle back to that example of being in the car again. That would happen so instantaneously within seconds. You truly would have no idea what was happening. It would just suddenly start disintegrating, right? So, man will suck up the water, kill both hundreds of yards even monthly, after being released by the wind. According to steel the surface, 34 caves were pumping back in and caused massive destruction to the city in the speed.
One shark eating list, a lifetime experience that many shores couldn't pass up. It's pretty sad to see such investigating animal being miles. All the books, United States, Russian, on the first name, key open clubs, arrows, cold because X, indicates, full of because of the social flirting, speed for because college shavings, specifically by certain in here, and just like the next time niche with something about best and tool reach from power.
It sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individual in there. No.
There is a brief struggle as the officers push the distraught Floyd into the back of a police vehicle.
Yeah.
Too many Negro children entering segregated grade schools at the time of the Supreme Court's decision 9 years ago, and then segregated high schools this fall, having suffered a loss which can never be restored.
Andrade and Kane is a leader of the Guarani, one of a number of indigenous tribes that still call the rainforest home. The Ecuadorian government has sought to expand oil production in the region to boost the Canadian economy, a move that threatens the tribal way of life.
But what could we use these against? We talked about the vehicle a bit. We talked about how Athena has just proven itself against drones. But in the real-world application, our forces could use it against the drones. We could use it against aircraft. We could use it against vehicles on the ground, like we mentioned. We could also use it against fast attack boats. And in fact, Athena's sibling Adam a couple years ago proved that it could eliminate these fast attack boats. So if you imagine boats start trying to swarm one of our ships, not a problem for this laser. Burns right through the hull. As you can see right there, it's burning right through the hull.
As you can see smoke over the hotspots all mouths. A simple fires partnership has even more than this time last year carrying all of that bush burning here. Also, this is August 20th. That's 19 fires all hot. We see across the world right now, and this is focused on Brazil. People fire down from your way as well.
So for inland, the water is up and the sea. When the watches, it is more uncommon for tornadoes to run through marine life 100 miles away from the water. This is not happening for Sunday.
100 or 200,000 years from now, if there's continued improvement and you're in a full body haptic suit with a sort of surround vision, and it becomes beyond a certain resolution, indistinguishable from reality.
The Amazon rainforest is on fire again. Whole mountains, hills, and valleys engulfed in smoke.
I'm incredibly excited about this news, this great news about the successful testing of Athena, because it means that we'll be putting powerful weapons soon. We could put them in the hands of warfighters to give them even more powerful weaponry to keep themselves safe and also to deliver the effects that we need. We can use
Lack of an adequate education denies the Negro a chance to get a decent job. The orderly implementation of the Supreme Court decision, therefore, cannot be left solely to those who may not have the economic resources, carry legal action, or who may be subject to harassment.
The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yes, I did!
No, you didn't!
Yes, I did!
Workers on site call them streamers because the smoke can create when the bird ignited in midair. In a report on AV mortality at 3 Southern California facilities, investigators found that these solar farms it's a megatrack, attracting insects which in turn attract insect-eating birds, which are then incapacitated. More than 500 birds have died at one plant, and 1,000 more are expected to die every year at another. Going back a little bit. So these are obviously in our picture. This is what I was talking about here with the video. These are non-lists. This is what we look at surface first. These shirts one side.
These will be used offensively and of course defensively too to help protect our homeland. Think of our airports that might be under threat from enemy drones. It could be used to protect, or used statically and used to protect our airports. It could be used to protect our power grid, our nuclear plants. So there's lots of different exciting applications for this technology. There's no longer science fiction, but science fact.
There have been such incidents that have been reported to. Recent examples of the something incident in Mexico with fish meat in Sky in San Diego, and the number of fish in the town of Tela in India to meat.
Seconds later, Floyd is pulled out the other side.
Some of these fires are absolutely huge, stretching as far as the eye can see in every direction.
And as I travel to various countries in Africa, I find that the food is still there, but we have been invaded with foreign substances and foreign philosophies that was diffused. But
when this morning, officials say fish out from the side. We heard we did a coastal city of the people take pictures. We incredible see the posted on Facebook trying to say that this is not on that. And reported in ancient times and happened in tornadoes occur overwash.
And just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3
Birds have been a hard time navigating traditional barriers such as airplanes and windows. Wind farms kill more than 100,000 birds each year, but solar farms are a new lawsuit. One solar company said 1 billion.
So the recent California fires are very strange and suspect, to say the least. We have specific areas being burned, like energy was being directed at certain things. In drone footage of the aftermath, we see houses completely obliterated and turned to ash, while the surrounding landscapes and trees are totally fine.
Flying up near the North Pole is no easy feat. Distances are vast, and there's not a whole lot of options if we have an in-flight emergency.
Antarctica is the windiest, coldest, driest, and most uninhabited region on the planet. With 98% of the continent covered in miles-thick ice and limited resources, Antarctica is easily the most naturally inhospitable place on Earth.
Beneath the canopy of these ancient trees, the fires rage. The heat from the blaze is absolutely astonishing. We're filmed as trees exploded into flame, burning like a torch. These trees are gone forever.
That's when Officer Derek Chauvin would put his knee on Floyd's neck. Tonight, Chauvin faces charges including second-degree murder and manslaughter.
Referring to these indigenous communities in the Amazon. Tell us just what is at stake for these communities.
Well, their life is at stake. Indigenous peoples across the Amazon are the owners of 25% of the entire basin. That's 10 times the size of California. And their very physical, cultural, and spiritual survival is on the line. They've been protecting these lands for thousands of years, swimming alone upstream against innumerable waves of resource extraction. And now here it is.
Here's a clip courtesy of Serbian Conspiracy. I'll put a link in the description. You'll notice here that stores and restaurants are wiped out while other things are still in perfect shape. Other buildings are fine, trees are untouched, but specific structures are just devastated.
So at the ocean research, first we wanted to know what was disease? What is disease? Because it seemed to be misinterpreted.
Set your head northeast. How's your way?
You gotta ask yourself, what's up with that? How did the fires get to these certain buildings, but the surrounding areas, including the parking lot, look normal? Is this the result of direct energy weapons? Ranged weapons that inflict damage on a target by emitting highly focused energy? The answer is most likely yes, but most people believe that these kind of weapons are just science fiction, due to movies like Austin Powers, for instance.
He says we're heading west. Well, the magnetic compasses start doing weird things up there. Fortunately, we've got pretty good systems.
And there are likely to be millions, maybe billions of such simulations. So then, what are the odds that we're actually in base reality? Isn't it 1 in billions?
In the C-130, our compasses are stabilized by gyros. We also back that up with GPS. Satellite.
Everyone is talking about departmentalizing or individualizing disease. When you have diabetes, it's different from having leukemia. When you have sickle cell anemia, most sin is not like leukemia, they're different.
Hey guys, Andrade here. So we're gonna make a video with this included, but I decided to make this separate because it deserves attention on its own. Check this out. The Amazon tribe is a lawsuit against oil, saving millions of acres of rainforest. In a landmark ruling, an indigenous tribe from Amazon have protected land from
The Brazilian government says the Amazon is not on fire. These are our pictures. We witnessed 10 fires in just one part of Paris State in the Amazon. It's already the most forested part of the rainforest. Deforestation. Let's change the ecosystem.
Still, that barren ice cape covers a tenth of the world's land. And as we know, most countries aren't super willing to let unclaimed land stay unclaimed. Currently, 51 countries have joint international control over Antarctica, with 7 claiming overlapping jurisdictions over certain portions.
Speak softly, but carry a big stick. These are the words of President Roosevelt that have guided many world nations' diplomacy. But with Hezbollah to the north and Hamas to the south, Israel is swapping out the stick for something a little bit more high-tech.
To protect and relocate rivers where desert forces, and is now worrying about the birds. And Steve, the company said, we are evaluating the use of humane avian defense systems similar to those employed by
Dozens of strangers come together to the rescue of dozens of pilot whales. About 30 of them were in dangerously shallow water, began with EV protection.
When they are not, they've never been different. They're coming from the same source. The mucous membrane of our biological structure has been compromised, meaning that the mucous membrane has been broken.
And it'll completely change the face of war as we know it. Now, lasers have long since captivated the imagination of futurists and sci-fi writers worldwide. But thanks to new Israeli technology 10 years in the making, high-energy laser beams capable of intercepting rockets and missiles are now making their debut in the field. Defense Minister Naftali Bennett says that the laser sword makes Israel's security apparatus more lethal, more powerful, and more advanced than ever before.
We are sold out today! We're all in trouble.
Oil companies seeking to use it for oil drilling, but people predicted 500,000 acres of territory in the rainforest, bringing the case before panel judge at court and won. Now, isn't that coincidence how this happens, and suddenly we have this fire burning the Amazon rainforest for weeks and weeks, with little to no news coverage. Also, one for help.
There are wildfires around the globe, particularly in the United States. This is a rainforest. It shouldn't be happening, but listen to the fire.
films are both chased off in the middle of sports. Busy folks will running together. Like, we have seen Astro Return on things around. But then you have something simple.
King, I'm on down there. I called 911, he got on me. You think the universe is mad at me?
Previous attempts to create such lasers have all apparently failed to produce good results. This breakthrough defense combines multiple long-range lasers into one strong beam. They can be focused on long-range targets while overcoming clouds, dust storms, and other disturbances.
Yes, I arrived at the nutritional guide.
Finally, best of all, officials explained that while missile interceptors, like even the Iron Dome, can run out, this system is never ending as long as you have electricity.
Wherever that break has taken place, would determine the disease that you would manifest. Like, for instance, like we always say, if the mucous membrane has been compromised in the nasal passage, it is what? Sinusitis.
Who exactly controls Antarctica? Well, back when there was still unexplored land ready for the taking in the world, in order to control the territory, you usually had to be an aboriginal inhabitant, a powerful occupying force, or at the very least, the first person to show up. In Antarctica's case, there are no indigenous peoples, nor even an occupying force, and even today, there is no permanent human population.
People are talking about this and what's going on. Even mainstream media channels when they start talking about it. At least that they ignore it for weeks on end and not going to talk about it because it's a headliner and gossip going around. And no one actually come and not know how or why this is happening. And if you think it's because of climate change, who are sheep? Well, actually, what I was saying, sweet obvious.
By selecting the food that is most consistent with the human body.
Controlling the fires is almost impossible. Firefighters struggle to stop the flames spreading from cattle pastures to the rainforest above. This firefighting team is responsible for 84,000...
The three other officers at the scene each face aiding and abetting charges. Lindsay, these dramatic videos were entered into evidence as part of an effort to have the charges against Officer Lane dropped. They each run about 30 minutes long, and in one of the videos, you can actually see Lane trying to perform CPR on Floyd in the
beach or come ashore, which could be fatal. Lifeguards rushed in to help them. As you can see, virtually everyone, from little kids to senior citizens, joined in.
In the bronchotubes, bronchitis. On the lungs, pneumonia. In the pancreas, diabetes. On the brain, schizophrenia, paranoia, or Parkinson's disease, insomnia, depending where the mucus is located.
Other solar fields are planted in California desert, including one near Joshua Tree National
That's crazy.
Man-made, done by a specific group, perhaps people from the oil company or another entity who would have gained much profit from this, and there's no way.
We got a well-known flight path for migrating birds, eagles, and fowls.
So we took the position, and we maintained that position, that there is only one disease, manifesting in 1,000 different ways, the compromising of the mucous membrane.
Back of an ambulance, as we know, Floyd later passed away, and all of this entire incident started with a report of George Floyd allegedly using a fake $20 bill at that convenience store.
In response, Iranian people have taken to the streets and courts of Ecuador to prevent the government selling their ancestral lands to oil companies. With the help of an NGO called Amazon Frontlines, the tribe won a landmark case in April, which campaigners say protects 500,000 acres of rainforest.
In today's theater of operations, there is a constant rise in threats against the U.S. and allied military assets and personnel. The need to counter weapons such as ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and hypersonic technologies with directed energy applications is urgent. Our military needs the capability to generate high energy levels of electric power quickly. that can both power and cool directed energy weapon systems. Honeywell's leading-edge systems provide high power, thermal management, and energy storage. We have decades of proven experience in both military and commercial platforms across all domains: sea, air, land.
So it's hard to argue that any one dominant nation controls the continent. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, a number of expeditions to Antarctica that led to many surrounding islands and bays being claimed by different countries.
I'm going to be more like 8 more in there. Please, it's something to
Three of the pilot whales did not survive, but got most of them back out to sea. A wildlife boat crew is now following that pod.
This is what you love in Iron Will during the course of these. Not at all. This evil making should never wake up. With that, all these guys have faith, remain vigilant, and other steps.
So, that led Ma'a and I to think about not only addressing to one part of the body, but to address the total body.
And space. Our recently power generation system range from single kilowatt to 1 megawatt. The high power capability of our unique products and small form factors are ideal for directed energy applications. We carefully crafted technology to operate with minimal recharge time and deep magazines to fit one UAV and larger that require higher power and power.
What you doing out black, man? Get your hand on the brothers. Just be cool. Be cool.
Grams of shapeless. This is how it works.
Walk into that.
Because the body is all interconnected and interrelated. We can't treat one side without the other. So we say just go for it. An intracellular cleansing. Self-explanatory.
Using our proprietary warfighter mission modeling and simulation tools, we work with our customers to define architectures, identify system trades, and customize solutions for cost, size, weight, and power requirements. Our warfighters require highly accurate pointing and stabilization systems to effectively aim and defeat, and they are employed in over 90% of U.S. military platforms today.
But there are specifics within that arrangement, like in the case of Caucasian people. Caucasian people could digest lactose. Not so for African people.
As warfare continues to evolve, so do we. Honeywell is committed to equip our military with the tools they need.
Cleaning every cell that makes up every organ and system that totals the biological you.
First was the United Kingdom, which attempted to lay claim to most of the continent. This land grab worried international powers, and around the 1930s, France, Norway, Argentina, Chile, and Nazi Germany began carving out their own territorial claims on Antarctica.
Did you see that?
Meaning cleaning all of you. Not only your colon, like many have decided to do.
Because I've been to the mountaintop.
Hoping to keep it from turning back to shore.
People always jump in and help when they can. Yeah. It's a really nice thing to see.
Leading researchers fear the Amazon is at a dangerous tipping point. Unless drastic action is taken, the non-state tribes like hers may be the last ones standing in defense of this priceless natural resource.
Following the end of World War II, Germany lost any claim to the land, and the U.S. asserted its own territorial claim. By 1959, following a period of scientific frenzy on the continent, 12 countries signed the Antarctic Treaty.
To concentrate on the colon, no. We concentrate on the whole human body. Cleansing the human body is only but one part of the whole journey. The other is bringing back the energy that was lost by the presence of disease. That energy is supported by minerals.
Ruling was upheld against an appeal by the Ministries of Environment and Energy. A second victory for Monte and her tribe. It's one victory. This means that our children, future generations, are going to live healthy, safe, and happy.
Establishing the area as a condominium, not like the type of housing. It means that multiple countries mutually agree to have equal sovereignty over territory.
We can have. And the reason for that is not that we are better or worse. We just happen to be different. We haven't treated that difference.
A long life, longevity has its place.
On the day that you were born, and in my opinion, you should spend this day with your mother and your father who conceived you, and you should be giving them the presents.
Live minerals. Phosphate of iron, phosphate of calcium, and phosphate of everything that we're gonna use would have to be phosphate. Why? Because they, and they alone, are electrical.
And here.
During the 21st century, with scientific reports coming out showing that our global economic system is driving us to planetary collapse, and it is premised on the extraction of natural resources. And
But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will.
Although technically all previous territorial claims are still in effect. Since then, a few dozen more countries have joined on to the Antarctic Treaty. So who owns Antarctica? Well, in short, no one and everyone. The Antarctica.
We have not. We talk in terms of good and bad, up and down. We never talk in difference. But I am different. My food.
So as we recommend the intracellular cleansing, we know that the person in question, patient or client, has suffered the loss of energy.
And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain.
Treaty establishes the continent as a scientific reserve only to be used for peaceful scientific purposes. That means no military activity or nuclear testing, and
by the presence of such disease. So, apart from part 1, which is the cleansing, now we have to revitalize the system because it has been weakened.
This story is a rare glimmer of hope in the fight to save the Amazon and could pave the way for other clients to take similar action. UN officials not available.
That we as a people will get to the promised land.
sharing of any scientific discoveries. Plus, there's an environmental moratorium on mining and drilling until at least 2048. As of now, Antarctica may be one of the few places in the world where mutual international cooperation has led to peaceful dispute resolution.
We can select comfrey and golden seal, aloe vera, peppermint, and chinacea. No. We have to go to Calawala. We have to go to Contribo. We have to go to Cordoncillo Negro. And we have to go to the one that I favor most of all, the Pavana.
Here they are.
First America, now Sweden. 100% battles, dead in a snow in a small town of Fabulous. It's a difference coming in for Asiato's mysterious nature. What a water sport. Some panic is where they can run over in the front entrance and kind of shock. Where you look.
Now we are talking about electric herbs for an electric body. After we selected these plants, these electrical plants, we made these compounds.
Conspiracy theorists, mass biologists, birds like this in Louisiana and Montmoy are surprisingly common. The US geological survey lists 90 such incidents in America in the last year, 5 involving more than 1,000 birds.
Puzzled by a disturbing trend in the waters along 4 Gulf Coast states.
Almost 300 dead and dying dolphins have washed ashore since February.
And
struck him, which is just 100% false. And you can see.
Louisiana wildlife officials believe these birds hit and startled their roost and flew into power lines.
Straussman reports from Clearwater Beach, Florida.
Off the coast of St. Petersburg, Aaron Bouchier with No Fisheries took us out on their dolphin research vessel. We found this pod of 8 or 9 dolphins, all healthy, swimming a half mile.
Willkommen bei Paradise for Personal Lust.
Indigenous people across the Amazon, such as the Guarani, the issue is very clear. It's about a way of life. It's about a way of life premised on the destruction of their lands versus their way of life, which is, about connection to the forest and about survival.
And in the video, as we continue.
In administering these plants, these compounds, we see that immediately, in less than 24 hours, our patient is saying, I am already feeling the effect of these medicines or this food.
From shore.
They make you happy. They do.
But from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle, coastline residents keep seeing a dolphin die off. They're all bottlenose dolphins, which live closest to shore. Many were adults. The single-day record.
Comment. In July, they said in a statement,
It is important to highlight that this ruling does not affect in any way the oil production in our country. We confirm our commitment to develop our natural resources with the highest social and environmental standards, respecting the community's rights in the key project areas.
Birds still rebellion that loose in BB. No, ribbon blackbirds are seen as a pest. They farm a seed, and thick layer of poppings under a roost can harbour a fungus that causes a nasty lung disease.
Transforms and offers to fund the sort of
She'll say, no. No, bring them sand over, which share overseas. Isn't it out? And usual word, or do we need?
Why? Because they are electrical.
Mitch, just how significant is this case we've just reported on in the broader scheme of things?
Well, hopefully the Guarani victory, coupled with, what's happening in Brazil with Bolsonaro, will spark a shift in how the world conceives of the urgent threats facing the Amazon and the big question of how to save the Amazon rainforest. Because, what I was just saying is indigenous peoples are the customary owners of huge tracts of forest, and it's some of the most best protected and healthy forests on the planet, and it's under threat. And indigenous peoples across the basin need the resources, the networks, and the capacities, and the backing of the international community so they can continue to protect their lands and their way of life against what is amounting to an all-out assault on the territories, and ultimately is going to lead to, the destruction of their forests and our climate.
The sign of the first being poisoned, the legal to tell pest control. All the hell is to do man this killer. A combo.
Shit, I'm confused. This is a file. Take one similar. He must be for sex. Again, sense like. As you do, this is how we can somehow. It's a street you decide. First,
Sign report about this problem fast people to see the problem. It affects the all your episode is to off. Good people for commission.
You can see that when he fired at him, he was right up against the door.
The clock in. This is all. What is the show here? In.
Completely unnecessary.
The only message I can give to the other countries is to have a soul, to defend our jungle for future generations, because we are not children, and it's our children who benefit.
So, there is an intracellular cleansing and the revitalizing of the same.
In this respect, I want to pay tribute to those citizens north and south who've been working in their communities to make life better for all.
And be thankful that they brought you into the world. And the future is yours, and you can do whatever you want.
Can you hear me?
The father of one of the children killed in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting was found dead inside Edmonton.
While the Guarani lands are protected for now, other parts of the Amazon are at increasing risk. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has undone decades of reign. Forest protections, causing deforestation in Brazil to accelerate in June to over 1.5 football fields every minute. And
Can you hear me?
Football rules present. Easy question. Marshall Houston. Far right here. Said Bruce Wilson for Fresh Bassett. And image of Britain. You're from the all that.
And those things to me, I mean, season capital T, and he's leading the race and including the worst they have been able to
So congratulations. I love you. Goodbye.
In Town Hall, police say 49-year-old Dr. Jeremy Richmond died of an apparent suicide.
Other features will be also requested, including greater protection for the right to vote. But legislation, I repeat, cannot solve this problem alone. It must be solved in the homes of every American, in every community, across